let's talk about changing our perspective. Peace, family. So today I wanted to talk about changing our perspective. And this is just something that's like come up organically in a couple of conversations, and so I wanted to make a formal video, short little video for you guys about this topic and how yoga has been so transformational for me in terms of physically having a different perspective. Now here's the most basic way I'm going to explain this, okay? If someone said to you, look behind you, what would you do? What would you do, right? Most of us are going to go like this, right? Or go like this. And the thing that yoga really taught me is that a lot of us, all of us for the most part, in the West at least, are kind of stuck on this pattern, this grid pattern. Our arms go like this, our legs go like this. You know, if we're walking, we're walking. Even if we're biking, right? If we're running, we're just doing it faster. But most of us are stuck on this kind of like grid thing. Unless you're like a dancer, I mean, obviously there's exceptions to this, but I mean like the vast majority of like regular Americans who exercise, it's still kind of in this linear pattern. We might even go side to side, but it's kind of stuck in this like, this thing. And so when you start practicing yoga, at least when I started practicing yoga, one of the reasons I love headstand so much is because it literally teaches you to look at the world from a completely different perspective. Like you are literally at length just looking at the world upside down. And that really, for me, changed so much for me, because it's like, wow, like if someone said look behind you, I can look behind me like this, right? I can look behind me in a back bend, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many different ways that you can do that. But it's like our bodies, because a lot of our bodies are kind of in this rigid format, it makes the mind that way. And the more that you open up the body, the more that you open up the possibilities in the mind, right? So when someone says, you know, hey, I need you to do this, if you are stuck in this kind of pattern that says, you know, this is the only way this can be done, the only way I can look behind me, obviously, right, is to go like this. And it has never occurred to me that I could look so many different ways, right? Depending on, maybe it's something that's on the ground, maybe it's something that's high up, right? I mean, there's so many different perspectives. And so I just wanted to talk about that and see if you guys have any thoughts about shifting your perspective. And I know that for me, continually, I'm not saying this is like a, oh my God, my perspective shifted, now I'm changed, right? It's like a constant thing where it's like, you know, as of today, I'm thinking about something and I'm like, oh, why is it that way? Why did this happen? Or even with politics and things like that, right? Where we're like, you know, why did they do that? It's crazy that someone would do that. You know, why would these people vote this way? But then you change your perspective, right? It's like a lot of times we forget that it's not that we're right, it's that we just have a certain perspective, you know, and that sometimes someone can have an opposite perspective, and it's not that they're wrong, it's that they just have a different perspective. And likewise, even with life, like when things happen, I think a lot of times we have this kind of like perception of what that means, what it means that certain things happen, when it could really be something of like the meaning of it, right? Could be something totally different than what we initially think, if we just open ourselves up to the possibility of looking in a different way. And so I just was thinking about that. I want to do more of these little videos, so let me know what your thoughts are on shifting your perspective. If you guys are yogis, have you had any feeling of this? The more you practice and do things that you're like literally upside down, that it changes the way you see the world and that you even see yourself? Let me know in the comments. As always, I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.